Welcome everyone to Paws to Listen, the Beattie Pet Hospital podcast. This is our first ever podcast, and I am so excited to be your host. My name is Allison. I am a vet assistant at Beattie Pet Hospital in Burlington. I also run all of the social medias for this clinic. I want to explain a little bit about this podcast. We will be talking about several different things from training all the way to different medical conditions. We will have some guest speakers coming on the podcast to discuss these different topics. Before we get into today's podcast, I want to give everyone a couple of announcements about the clinic. First off, something new we are doing is newsletters. Today, a newsletter has been emailed to everyone. For those who might have missed it, I'm going to read it to you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever newsletter. This newsletter will be coming out monthly, just to go over anything new that we get in, anything fun we did as a clinic, any promotions or deals, and we will have a top story as well. So, the first promotion that is still in place until January 17th, 2024, is our new Senior Wellness promo. If your pet is over the age of 7 and is in good health, your pet can receive a complete physical exam with 10% off the cost of the exam. But wait, it gets better. The promo also includes a discount on senior blood work. You can save $90 off the initial blood work price. Now, let's get into our top story. Today, we have an amazing top story for you. One of our technicians made a weight loss program called Mission Slim Possible. If you switch your pet to metabolic weight loss food, you can gain some perks that are included in our weight loss program. Some of the perks include getting a free bag of metabolic treats with your first bag of kibble, free support from our staff to help you reach your goals, a free metabolic kibble food at the halfway point, and then upon completion of the program, you get a free toy and a name on the winner's board. If you are interested, give us a call to learn how to become part of this program. I do want to highlight some things that happened this year. First off, back at the beginning of May, Bowringer invited us to Canada's Wonderland. We enjoyed the rides and food. At the end of May, some of our team went to New Credit First Nations and held a wellness clinic to provide low-cost veterinary care to pets of the community. In October, we had a team building event. We went to the zoo and saw so many different animals. Of course, us being a vet clinic, we had to go check out the clinic that the zoo animals go to. Finally, in November, we held our Christmas party with NVA. We all had an amazing time and enjoyed amazing food. Last thing I want to mention is we are starting a podcast on YouTube. But for everybody who is listening on YouTube right now, we are hopefully going to be going over to Spotify as well soon. But check out our social medias so you can be up to date. I hope everyone enjoyed the newsletter. I won't be reading it every time before the podcast, but every podcast I will be doing a couple of announcements. It might be any promos we have, or it might be any changes to the clinic. But this podcast will be weekly, bi-weekly, unsure 100% yet. At the beginning, we will be starting with bi-weekly. And then any changes to the podcast will be posted on our Facebook and Instagram page. Now, let's actually get into the podcast. Today, we are going to talk about a myth about our pets. I don't see any fleas on my pet, so they don't have fleas. This is a myth. Believe it or not, 95% of fleas in your house at any given time do not live on your pet. The vast majority of fleas in the environment aren't adult fleas, which is what you're likely to see when you're looking for them on your pet. Before we talk about this more, let's understand fleas a little bit. Fleas live, feed, and mate on many animals, including cats, dogs, rabbits, and more. Flea eggs fall off these animals into the environment. which they hatch into larvae. The larva eats organic debris until they mature into pupa. The pupa may lie dormant for weeks to months, awaiting the ideal environmental conditions before hatching into adults. Newly hatched adult fleas jump onto a host animal to complete their life cycle. 2 days after eating a blood meal from the host, the female flea begins to lay eggs, which then drop off into the environment. The cycle starts again, spreading fleas to more animals. Under ideal conditions, the fleas can complete its entire life cycle in as little as 2 weeks. In other conditions, the cycle can take as long as a year. Homes with carpets and central heating provide ideal conditions for the year-round fleas. The highest number of flea eggs, larvae, are found in areas of the house where pets spend most of their time, such as their beds and furniture. Even if fleas are in your house, you probably will not see them. The eggs are tiny, white specks the size of dust particles, while the larvae are somewhat larger, with dark heads and lighter bodies. They migrate deep down into carpets, furniture, or cracks in the floor, away from the light. Just one adult flea can lay up to 2,000 eggs in her short lifetime. To make matters worse, many adult fleas are removed when your pet is cleaning, making it less likely that you will see them. So even if you aren't seeing fleas, they may very well be there. Check in the fur for flea dirt, which looks like tiny dark specks, as well as for excessive scratching and sores created from your pet scratching after flea bites. The only way to ensure that your pet does not have fleas is to keep them on prescription flea prevention year-round. If your pet has fleas and you need to get rid of the fleas in your house, using Cipatrol is the best. This flea and tick home spray kills both adult and pre-adult fleas, along with ticks. Do not apply to any surface that may come in contact with food. Do not apply it to people or pets. And please make sure all people and pets are removed from the area before spraying. If you are going to use this in your home, read the label before using. If you are unsure if your pet has fleas and need flea prevention, make an appointment with your vet so they can talk to you about the best flea option for your pet. Now that we are finished talking about our first ever myth, I would love to hear stories about fleas in your home. Join our discussion on our social medias. I want to thank everyone who has listened and supported Paws to Listen, the Beattie Pet Hospital podcast on YouTube. Make sure you follow all of our socials, and I hope to see you in clinic soon. Bye, everyone.